Yes, back in full effect. Mind on the Matter.
You've got it locked in the right position. 88.1 FM, WFSK.
Basically, Mind on the Matter is a talk show. It deals with loving yourself enough to where you tell the truth about the matter. I don't know how to take it, actually. Mind on the Matter. Y'all with me? Spirit is a wonderful thing. It keeps you in line.
You are an encouragement, and the whole business of a radio station. I am very impressed. I just love what I'm hearing.
I am very thankful to WFSK, the staff, Fisk University, the campus, the administrators, the local community in Nashville for welcoming me on to the station. Since last week's show, you know, we talked about marriage and the so-called crisis in the black community and how there are a large number of African American women who have never been married, and then there's a high divorce rate as well. Now, the high divorce rate is across the board, but it seemed like in several categories that I was reading from an article in a local paper, black women are twice as likely to never have been married, you know, than white women, and children, black children are twice as likely to be in a home with a single parent than white children. You know, it's a lot going on with that. So we started to talk a little bit about this whole thing, this whole concept called marriage, and we started to, you know, elaborate a little bit, and I got into a couple definitions and some concepts and things of that nature. But I've been told that we didn't cover it in enough depth. So guess what? Back by popular demand, we're going to continue the discussion. I mean, folks said, you know, because, you know, last week we also had a very special guest, Dr. Joe Fagan, who's going to be joining us here in Nashville this weekend over at the Scarrett Bennett Center. So, you know, he came in, he chimed in, he started talking real heavy about his perspective of racism and white supremacy. And what's unique about his perspective is that he himself is a white man who had racist characteristics when he was growing up. You know, he said all of that was shifted once he went to Harvard. So, you know, we had to cut the conversation on marriage a little short. So I do understand, you know, the emails and the phone calls that came later saying, hey, man, Doc, that's a really important message there. Y'all need to go on back into that. And so, you know, because we are listener supported and we do what y'all want us to do, that's what I'm going to do. All right. So where should we start? I mean, because there's so many different angles that we can touch on marriage from. I mean, we got people who are chiming in about Tiger Woods' situation, and we got people that's chiming in, or I mean, just everything across the board. And when I was meditating and thinking about how to carry this show tonight, what came to me was to start from the cultural and the spiritual perspective of what a marriage is and what a union is. All right, y'all ready for that? Y'all digging that? So let's go. So what I came to understand, and there's a really nice book written on this concept. It's called The Afrocentric Guide to Spiritual Union, and it's by Ra Anefa Amen. And you've heard Ra Anefa Amen on my show before. He's actually the author of the MindOnTheMatter, Volume 1, and now 2, 3, and 4. MindOnTheMatter Volume 4 just came out like the other day, and a whole bunch of other books. And so he talks about, in his book, The Afrocentric Guide to Spiritual Union, he talks about how the union of marriage, and when man and woman come together, is actually for the cultivation and development of a higher form of spirituality. Yep, that's what I said. That's what he said. They come together to help each other to work through whatever issues may be there. No, I'm not saying that you are your spouse's or your mate's personal therapist or their counselor or anything like that, but you are someone that is devoted, based on this perspective now, someone who is devoted to the continued growth, upliftment, and development of that divine aspect that your mate possesses. Very, very deep, and sometimes difficult to grasp concept here. Because what we've done is we've taken all of the Roman antics or the romantics out of it. And we're taking all of the, you know, the game, the chocolates and the flowers and the flattery and all of the confidence building, you know, all of that part out of it. And we're talking about straight up, 10 toes on the ground, push-ups on your knuckles type of work. Meaning that you're in it to win it. You're in it because you understand that this individual that you have chosen to be with has as much potential to increase their manifestation of divinity as you do. In other words, you're looking at this person as a manifestation from God, someone who has been sanctioned by God to be here on the planet, and you're blessed enough to be with this person. And the two of you together do the work of awakening your divine nature. I know. It's a deep concept. It's like out the box. It ain't nowhere near the box. But just walk with me for a minute. So what does that look like? What that looks like is you have two individual people who have decided within themselves as individuals that they are going to grow and cultivate a higher aspect of themselves. Now, when I say higher, I'm saying higher as opposed to lower. Now, we have base nature, we have what's been considered a human nature, and all of this, again, is coming from the perspective of that particular book, An Afrocentric Guide to Spiritual Union. And he said there's a lower nature, which is called the animalistic nature, and you got that human nature, which is like the rational and the potential for morality nature, and then you have that divine or that spiritual nature, which is the highest, the highest form of it is when you're literally living God ordained. And this is independent of religious affiliation and religious orientation and all that. This is a spiritual concept. And when you find relationships that are based upon that, then what you also have are two people that understand that there is no such thing as a happenstance or something that just happened, or there is always room for choice. Choice to, you make your choice to stick it through or choice to bail. You choose to love and care and nurture, or you choose to slack off. It's understood that there is always choice at play in any given relationship, and that every choice or every so-called problem that arises from a choice is simply an opportunity for those individuals in that relationship to work through a particular level of conditioning that they may have. All right, Dr. Menzise, what do you mean? Glad you asked. So when you're looking at these conditionings, we get conditionings from all over the place. So many of us go into our adult lives looking for a marriage partner based on what we decided a marriage partner should be when we were children. So in other words, you are 20, 22, 30, 35, 40, 59 years old out there looking for a marriage partner based on what you said your marriage partner was supposed to be like when you were 6 years old, 4 years old. This is really deep, y'all. Think about it. We get our concepts of marriage very, very young in life. And that is oftentimes informed by the environment around us. Environment consisting of political motivations, of course, how mom and dad, or mom and whoever, or dad and whoever get along in the household, based upon whatever cartoon is on the TV at the time, and if they display male-female relationships, based upon what uncle and auntie and them saying when they're sitting around at night playing cards, all of the above. These are the things that contribute to our understanding of what a relationship is supposed to be when we're children. And unfortunately, too many of us do not correct the child within us. And so we go on as adults, taking advice from children as to what our relationships are supposed to be. And then we wonder why we have so many immature relationships taking place right now. We got so many people so quick to bail out on each other. We got so many people walking into relationships with false expectations, unrealistic expectations that go far beyond what individuals are capable of in our current forms. And so we lead, one thing I learned early on in life, and I'm still early on in life, but earlier on in life, one thing that I noticed was what? The expectation is the precursor to disappointment almost every time. Every time? Every time. Yeah, dig that now. So when you have I'm not saying don't expect anything. Don't help me not to generalize so much. It's like when you have this level of expectation for a person, like for example, you say that you trust a person. You tell a person that you love them, and based on you loving them, you trust them as well. Oftentimes, we expect an individual who we trust not to do certain things to us, or not to do certain things while with us, not really understanding that we would be in a better position to trust that person to be exactly who they showed us that they are. Think about that for a second. If you trust a person to be who they are, who they showed you that they are, as opposed to who you want them to be, who you expect them to be based on this relationship that you all have developed, you will probably get a lot further than if you contrive or make up this image in your mind, or base it on the image that you've transported from your childhood into your adulthood. You're going to be disappointed.